Man, goddamn. Celeste, a friggin' masterpiece. Enough said. Thanks for watching, everyone. Okay, wait, hold up. Celeste is a very interesting game. I think it's really clever in how it's made. It's amazing how simple and traditional this platformer is, and yet it's built upon so much with so many mechanics, tricks, and intentional techs. It's difficult, but it's fair, it's engaging, and it's motivating. Sometimes it may be daunting, but it's very rewarding. Pair that with a powerful story and amazing soundtrack, and I think you got yourself one banger of a game. Hello there, internet user. My name is Miko, and today I feel like talking to you about why I love Celeste. If you're not familiar with this game, Celeste is a 2D platformer that's about a stubborn girl climbing a mountain. You got the standard jumping and running just like any other platformer, but Celeste gives the player access to a dash and a climbing mechanic for added movement. These abilities are continuously built upon throughout the entire game as well as the post-game. There is an unbelievable amount of meat to this game with such a simple foundation. Alongside all that, there's a brilliant story that covers darker topics such as depression and anxiety. And let me just say, if you haven't played this game, you freaking better go play it. This is your spoiler warning, I suppose. Trust me, you won't regret it. I don't think there's a lot Celeste does that is mind-blowingly unique or different. I believe the execution of everything is what makes Celeste so special. Like, let's look at Madeline's movement. You got dash and climb. Dash and climb. Dash for extended and flexible airtime. Climb for added freedom in approaching obstacles, and it gives more freedom for overall level design. You can wall jump, and you have limited stamina, which is clearly indicated. And yeah, that's about it.
Doesn't sound like much. I thought you said there was a lot of meat to this game.
Yep, I did. Don't you ever talk shit about Celeste again. Now this is where Celeste really shines. That being its level design. The level design in Celeste is awesome. It follows a more linear kind of design, but at the same time there are so many branching paths and side challenges that are so seamlessly attached to the main content. All mechanics are introduced one by one in easier environments, and then the game is able to slowly merge everything to create more complex and unique challenges. This gives the game a relatively smooth difficulty curve. I also love how you're able to zoom through levels pretty quickly if you don't want to deal with the harder side content, but all the side content is really accessible, so you can always just poke your head in optional rooms at your own discretion. Players with a lower skill level or players who just want to get through the game are not forced to do the many difficult challenges scattered throughout every level, but there's still an abundance of extra content ready for players to engage in. But how does the game manage to attract players to do the side content? It's simple. Dangle a berry in front of their sorry ass. In order to get players interested in performing harder optional challenges, the game throws these collectible items at the end of these challenges. Why the hell would someone want to go out of their way to do some bullshit hard room? To get some strawberries. Now, why the hell are floating strawberries scattered throughout this mountain? I don't know, but every time I see one, I get stimulated. These strawberries open up every level without it ever feeling overwhelming or like a pain in the ass. I'm not well versed in a lot of games, but from what I've played, 2D platforming in general is very linear, or it serves as filler. Maybe there might be some smaller alternate paths or shortcuts, but generally platforming segments follow one linear path. If you look at the 2D Mario games, there's normally only one way to go. Anytime the game takes you off the main path, it's to grab a collectible like a star coin or something. Sometimes these collectibles are just thrown into the main levels, but you gotta deal with some bullshit in order to get it. Either that or they're just sitting there and it doesn't take much effort to get it. Sometimes you're taken to a sub area or something that usually feels like a slog. Celeste is kinda similar to all this, except I think it's handled much better. Strawberries that are thrown into the main parts of levels feel like an alternate, harder path you have to take in order to proceed with the level. These strawberries in no way clash with the intended path you have to take, and instead proposes a mini challenge added on what you already have to do. Strawberries aren't there to touch and then forget about it. You have to actually collect it and then make it to the end of the segment safely in order to secure the prize. It's brilliant. You can look at the star coins again, and normally the main level will clash with the path needed to take to get the star coin. Either that or they require negative amounts of skill or brain power to get. Now if we start talking about sub sub-areas and branching paths, Celeste shines even more. It's usually very clear where the main path is, either it's really obvious or it's indicated by a glowy entrance thingy. That's important because there are entrances that lead to sub-areas all over the place. Sometimes there's sub-areas within sub-areas, but normally that's handled by eventually funneling the player back into the main level or providing a clear and easy path back to where you were before. When I played Celeste for the first time, there was never a moment where I felt lost or overwhelmed from the level design. It also helps that a lot of side content is hidden and is only revealed little by little once you go out of your way to explore these areas. And at any point you can always say fuck that and turn back. Many challenges that are presented with you are very clearly shown in one screen so the player can determine whether or not they want to attempt it. Even if the player gives the challenge a few attempts, they can always leave very easily and quickly. For larger challenges, you can get a set of binoculars so you can see what living hell awaits you. Sorry, I'm getting flashbacks to Farewell. Every room I completed, I dreaded seeing the next set of binoculars ready to show me what I'll be spending the next hour on. If you look at the star coins again, many sub-areas take you to some random ass room that has nothing but the star coin. Instead of the challenge being obtaining the star coin, the challenge tends to be finding the stupid fucking pipe that will take you there. For larger sub-areas, you usually can't see what awaits you. You just have to run forward and hope to God you don't have to deal with anything stupid. Another nitpick I have is that it really feels like a slog, slowly entering the pipe that you had to spend some time aimlessly searching for, then slowly exiting that pipe and completing whatever challenge the game throws at you. There is a lot of time spent doing the things that are not fun. This is where Celeste whoops even more ass. You see, the devs actually respect your time and... Huh? Oh, wait, okay, yeah, I know it's ironic, but hear me out a second. Celeste really minimizes all the time spent not platforming. Any filler space is limited, transitions between rooms are quick and smooth, respawn points are set frequently where it's most convenient. When you die, you don't take 855 years to respawn only to make another stupid misinput, and then you have to wait another millennium. If you're not spending your time doing the thing you paid money to do, you're spending your time analyzing how you're gonna proceed. Or crying. So I talked about the strawberries and how levels are designed around them. Now let's take a look at the challenges that actually lead up to them. Every level in this game has its own signature mechanics, and there aren't too many core mechanics seen throughout the whole game. Like I said before, the game constantly builds upon your dash and climb with different mechanics. I think the first chapter, Forsaken City, does a phenomenal job being the tutorial level. After the bird tells you how to dash... How does that work? Don't you ever ask these stupid questions. After you're introduced to the dash, the game throws a lot of simple obstacles your way, slowly ramping in complexity and difficulty. Well, I mean, duh, but rooms and challenges are very compact and simple to comprehend, usually fitting on a single screen. As you progress, you're introduced to mechanics one by one that would later become the core mechanics in the rest of the game. Springs, dash crystals, crumbling platforms, and in the next couple of chapters, keys and these key coin things. A big mechanic that's introduced early on is momentum, and momentum is where shit gets real. It's what adds an entire layer of depth behind your movement and mechanics thrown at you. It's also what allows whatever the fuck this shit is. You're introduced to these traffic block things in chapter 1, which is first used to cover great distances at high speeds. Then you quickly learn that you can literally fling yourself across rooms using the preserved momentum. Then slowly all these mechanics are merged together little by little, which offers the player more unique and complex challenges. Everything in this game is slowly built from scratch. The pacing is extraordinary, the difficulty curve is smooth throughout every level and the entire base game. The first 2 chapters are relatively short in comparison to the rest of the chapters because those first 2 levels are used to teach the player and get them comfortable with the mechanics of the game. It's probably why some people complain about a spike in difficulty in chapter 3. The entire battle and chase in chapter 2 is not super long, so it's able to get the player used to keeping their cool despite the stressful situation. This is brilliant because that's something you kinda need to get used to in later levels where you have to deal with longer and harder segments of precision platforming or other intense sequences like the Oshiro chase or battle and boss fight. Now, Celeste is a difficult game, especially if you start getting into the B-sides and God forbid the C-sides in Farewell. I swear, playing Farewell brought out my part of you that I'm not very proud of. But what's great about Celeste is that it's a very encouraging and forgiving game. This is it, Madeline. Just breathe. You can do this. It really plays into the story and themes of the game, but I'll get into that later. Most challenges, especially early on, are very compact and don't require a lot of platforming. It's not overwhelming. Every death is has added intel and you slowly learn how you're supposed to overcome these obstacles. I never remember yelling at my screen thinking this is some fat bullshit or this room is fatherless. Except in Chapter 8 B-side. Instead, I'm able to stay calm, quickly figure out what I did wrong and what I should do next. And before you know it, I'm already midway through my next attempt. I always want to get right back into the action because using these dash and climbing abilities are hella fun. You better be thankful the devs provided a fast respawn. Believe me, my total playtime would drastically increase if the respawn time was made even a few seconds longer. I think the addition of B-sides and C-sides are amazing, especially if you want more of a challenge. It's a great way to play with the many mechanics at a much higher difficulty. Unlocking the B-sides by collecting cassette tapes in the main levels is great so it doesn't overwhelm any player who doesn't interact with any of that stuff. I suppose it can be a minor pain in the ass if you are interested in that stuff but never find the cassette tapes. They're hidden in the main levels and there's no indication that they exist to players who never find them. You can't easily search for them like any strawberries you miss, which can be a big inconvenience. Same goes for the crystal hearts. Most players probably don't even know they exist until they find the one in Chapter 3. Why would people expect dashing in certain directions in a certain order will spawn a collectible? Why would people expect going way off the main path will result in a collectible? It's unfortunate that 4 crystal hearts are needed to unlock Chapter 8 because a lot of players would probably be excited for the post-game content, but they can't access it because they needed to collect 4 obscure collectibles that they never bothered to get. I understand the farewell gate though, and the Chapter 8 B-side gate. Beyond those gates lies some of the hardest vanilla content in the game. You can argue that the difficulty in later chapters and B or C sides are brutally unfair and bullshit, but I find that difficulty really fun most of the time, and it serves as a great way to keep levels memorable and encourage the player to keep going. It's really fun making good use of so many mechanics so intricately. Like there's people out there who find this shit fun. What the fuck is even going on? If everything was super easy, everything would be super forgettable. And remember, the game is forgiving and has a lot of convenience to give you a better experience. The feeling you get after completing a room or platforming segment is absolutely amazing. It's kind of like that feeling of completing some work you've been putting off for a long time. It's just a wave of relief and satisfaction. And you get this kind of feeling a lot. There's a whole lot of platforming to be done in this game. And with every death, you inch closer and closer to your goal, encouraging you to keep going. I don't know if this applies to everyone, but for me, the harder the challenge I face, the more locked in I get, which results in a much bigger feeling of satisfaction after I reach my goal. It works beautifully with the slowly increasing difficulty curve throughout the game. Not to mention it's so damn satisfying making all the correct inputs and actually doing the platforming. The variety in mechanics for every level really help here as well by giving the player more things to play around with. You got these big ass space blocks you can zoom through in Chapter 2, these hairy surfaces in Chapter 3 that turn into red sludge, so you have to work with limited terrain. These bubbles and moving blocks in Chapter 4 are awesome, and we can't forget about the red bubbles and dash block things in Chapter 5. You got these big blocks that go in Chapter 6, as well as these piece of shit bumpers. I fucking hate these things, but I love them. They're inconsistent, but you get to bounce around like a pinball. Every level is thematically different, and with that comes so much visual variety. Like seriously, this game has some of the best pixel art I've ever seen. It makes such good use of the foreground, middle ground, and background, and everything is animated so smoothly. This is a mountain we're talking about here, and despite that, you get to venture through a snowy abandoned city, a beautiful ridge with a gorgeous sunset background, a giant resort, a crystal cave, a goddamn ancient temple. Damn! Come on now. And the soundtrack. Oh my fuck, man! Damn! I was talking to a friend the other day, and he was talking about some podcasts he listens to while playing video games on mute. We were just vibing, and then he said he liked doing that while playing games like Minecraft, Celeste. Wait, what? I won't lie. That one hurt a bit. Anyway, I absolutely love the soundtrack to this game, if you couldn't tell. I do not know what Lena Raine was smoking when composing this work of art. Whatever it is, I want it. The music always seems to fit no matter where you are in the game, whether it be soothing or funky, intense, or hype as shit. Like, dude, that summit theme is insane. I have never felt more determined or hyped up playing any other video game. On the second last chapter of the game, you get so close to reaching the summit, but you end up falling to a lower point than when you first started. After After you finally make amends with Madeline, you both give one more attempt at climbing the mountain. The music kicks in, basically telling you shit's about to go down, and you're immediately thrown into the level starting at the base of the mountain. Instead of the game instantly bringing you back to where you were, you, the player, get to experience working your way up from the bottom again. You actually revisit all the chapters in the game through each section of the level, except this time you got a double dash. I find this so damn clever because the extra dash adds a shit ton more possibilities with the level design, and everything still makes sense because you're scaling the mountain again with Madeline on your side. There's even different versions of the song playing for each chapter, which I find so cool. And then you make it to the home stretch, and now you're given these numbered checkpoints that count down one by one, which fills you with determination. Obviously, the terrain is not realistic for gameplay purposes, but you gotta appreciate the effort put in making the terrain kind of feel like you are scaling vertically, and you are indeed scaling the tip of the mountain. Climbing up these cliff sides, seeing the wind bring me up or push me down, and taking in the gorgeous background really makes you feel unstoppable. And of course, this is where the music gets to the main summit theme, which... This shit is straight gas. I remember on my first playthrough, it was like 2 in the morning and I was so dead tired, but the music kept me alive and I was so determined to push through and reach the summit. Even after replaying the base game for the 3rd time, I still get so excited when I play this portion of the level. And in my opinion, I think all of that is just the cherry on top. The entire rest of the game builds up to this point wonderfully. And this is where I get into the story. It's established in the beginning that Madeline is not in a good state. She suffers from depression and anxiety and decides to climb Celeste Mountain for a change in pace in her life, and so she could feel like she accomplished something. The game explores this ugly side of Madeline through Madeline. It's a clever way to do the whole person versus self thing by making 2 characters represent the same girl. Madeline starts out like an asshole as expected, constantly shitting on Madeline, basically explaining that she never treated herself well. She blamed herself for many things, brought herself down, and doubted herself. As the game goes on, Madeline starts to learn that Madeline, or herself, is the reason for everything going wrong. When Madeline thinks she has it all together, she decides to confront her other self, only to be hit with a massive wave of doubt that screws her over. That's what the beginning of chapter 6 was all about. You notice the game introducing the idea of accepting oneself here as well, which seems to work at first due to Madeline slowly becoming the scared one. But Madeline ends up snapping at Madeline, resulting in her falling down the entire mountain. I'm pretty sure that's supposed to represent the massive wave of doubt that came and blindsided Madeline. She quickly became the scared one and she got overwhelmed. So much so that she tried using Theo's feather trick, but she could not keep it together. It's so heartbreaking seeing this segment where Madeline breaks down and gets all hopeless. She practically gives up. After meeting Granny later in the chapter though, she drops some fat wisdom bombs on her like the Giga Chad she is. She brings up the fact that Madeline might be scared. Damn, it really is amazing how this game manages to encapsulate depression. I would know, cause I've been there. I don't want to act like I know what I'm talking about, cause my brain consists of at most 2 brain cells, but the fear of moving on, facing your problems head on, constantly neglecting your problems and bad qualities leads people down such deep rabbit holes that are so hard to get out of. It's not as simple as just acknowledging your problems and working on them though. Some people can't help it. It's really hard to explain, but holding on and refusing to confront your problems stems from such a large amount of fear, and some people don't even realize it. Just like Madeline over here, she never considered the possibility. Madeline's super tough and intimidating appearance comes from the fear of moving on. You can see how terrified she is deep down in chapter 7, and once you reach the summit. You can kind of think of it like bullies. These pieces of shit will act all tough and cause harm to others, but chances are that behavior comes from a whole lot of pain and suffering they went through. As a result, they can't help but become miserable, to themselves and to others. I think the game explains depression pretty well in this conversation between Madeline and Theo. I don't think there are many games out there that directly explore depression like this. This part in chapter 6 is genuinely one of my favorite parts of the game. You get to choose how the conversation goes, and you get to learn more about Madeline and Theo. I also think it's pretty neat that you get to choose dialogue options on behalf of Theo as well. And dude, the music. Oh my god, I'm getting distracted. Anyway, Madeline explains depression like being stuck at the bottom of the ocean. She can't see anything and feels claustrophobic, but exposed at the same time. I think I can summarize that like she feels completely lost and hopeless, but in a weird, exhausting way. She talks about how she remembers being normal and then she was like this. The transition from normal to feeling like this was seamless. Despite all this, she thinks she was always a bad person. It's just the bad things happened to bring this part of her out. Notice how she never talks about feeling upset or angry? Yeah, because that's not what depression is. I've seen plenty of people think depression is all about being upset or really down, and some people would throw that term around very lightly or casually, and that pisses me off. Madeline says that she's floating in some abyss, going in a random direction. She sees no light at the end of the tunnel. She doesn't know what she wants or what to do, but she's still hoping for something. Wow. I feel so called out even though I'm reading off the script I wrote myself. Some people don't understand that people with depression are just so completely lost in life. You feel so trapped and alone, but just like Madeline says, you feel so exposed or careless. I don't want to speak for anyone. This is just my summed up, scuffed perspective. This is just such a sensitive topic that could have been messed up so easily, but I think this is something that Celeste pulls off wonderfully. Let's look at chapter 6 again. After the talk with Granny, Madeline's eyes are opened and she's willing to go confront her other self. Granny may have seemed like an asshole at the beginning of the game, but she's only trying to look out for Madeline. You can see this at the start of the game. That birdie that somehow tells you how to dash is Granny's other self. The bird is just looking out for the new visitors of the mountain. When talking to Granny, she's upfront and honest without being too much of a downer. She says that a glimpse of the truth is good for people, and I agree. If Granny told Madeline at the beginning of the game another part of herself will humanize and try to kill her, Madeline could have noped the fuck out of there and credits will roll. 0 out of 10, that was a short ass game. But she didn't. The experience Madeline gets from the mountain is something that she needed and is used to recover from the rabbit hole she got stuck in. People who are really depressed can be really stubborn even if they don't know it. Madeline eventually decides to lock in and she faces her problem head on. Madeline fights back and gets real defensive because that's Madeline subconsciously running away from the problem. This big ass boss fight sequence, which is really cool by the way, probably represents how difficult it is for people to get out of these rabbit holes and face yourself. Ultimately, it's up to you to make the change. You're the boss, just like Madeline. Not Madeline, she's the one making contact damage cause she's the boss. Then finally, after a long fight, Madeline is able to have a heart-to-heart with herself. Madeline gives up and says she'll try to leave Madeline alone, but Madeline realizes that it's impossible to completely get rid of all of her bad qualities, and instead she needs to accept herself for who she is and work on improving herself. And just like that, adding Madeline's double dash and big yeet show the effectiveness of accepting or facing yourself, just like Madeline. Everyone realizing that the cooperation between Madeline and Madeline can actually get them to the summit of the mountain never fails to make me smile. Like, look at this. Theo offers some help, but Madeline says he's done so much. Theo replies, "Let me hold your bag at least." Madeline replies, "Good idea. This won't take long." That's so badass, dude. That's plus 1 million aura right there. This build-up leading up to chapter 7 is just... It's so good, man. This is the kind of shit that gets me kicking my feet and giggling like a little bitch. Watching Madeline go from terrified to believing in Madeline and then motivating her when she becomes doubtful is just so fucking awesome. And my god, I haven't even talked about the gondola scene yet. Damn! I can't believe this game's got panic attack gameplay. I've fortunately never been in an extreme enough situation where I had to use a technique like this. At least I think I haven't, but this seems like a legitimate trick or variation of a trick in order to calm yourself down in case of something extreme like a panic attack. I especially love how the sequence plays kind of like a tutorial, so you actually learn something that could save a life, you never know. Thanks, Theo. Or thanks, Theo's grandpa. I've hit that point in the script where I have no idea what to say anymore. I'm all out. Man, it's just... Celeste is a good-ass game, okay? Great-ass game. The visuals, story, music, sound design, frustratingly addictive gameplay. There was still a lot of stuff I didn't go into regarding the post-game and, other things. I just wanted to focus on the base game for this video. I have 100% of this game. I suffered at the hands of Farewell, Chapter 8 B-side, Chapter 6 B-side, Chapter 7 B-side, this stupid fucking room from the seaside, and yeah, pretty much most of the game. I enjoyed all the story in Chapter 8 and 9, although 8 was mildly confusing. It's really cool that this game is speedrun friendly. Celeste is one of the most popular games to speedrun out there. It's awesome the devs make the game pretty speedrun friendly. I think it's pretty cool that Madeline is trans. Same thing with Maddie Thorson and Lena Rain. I find it pretty funny that some people joke about Celeste being the game that gets people to transition. Fuck. I think that's a good place to end the video. I'm all out. If you watched the whole video, thank you. I really hope you enjoyed me yapping. I'm not sure what else to say, but I think Celeste is a real work of art. If you enjoy platformers, I think this game is a must-play. Also, I'd appreciate it if you subscribed or left a comment or something. You don't have to, but it's a really big motivator for me. If you really enjoyed me yapping, then you can check out this review I did on Plants vs. Zombies. I'm pretty proud of that video. Or you can check out this video talking about why I love video games, coming from the perspective of an idiot that just recently opened up to the world of gaming. Anyway, I hope you enjoyed this video. Have a great day, internet user. Thanks for watching.